Well, Broncos country, Maha salute, man. How fun was yesterday? How fun was that Monday Night Football game? Definitely the most entertaining uh, NFL game of the season, in my opinion. Not necessarily for Bronco fans, as I was pretty anxious and stressed out the whole time, but it's great to be a Bronco fan, and it's great to have us be entertaining and fun again to watch for not just Broncos country, but for the whole football world. As we've been a disaster every time we've gotten a primetime game, it's been a disaster for us. So shout out to the team and shout out to all of the fans that have stuck with us through this tough time. We're going to discuss some key takeaways, some things that we had really noticed that yesterday's game really shined a big light upon, and what to expect for the final stretch of the season, man. The final 4 games as the Broncos head into their bye week. This week, yo, if you love Broncos content, if you love anything Denver sports related, really, but mainly the Broncos, there's a little subscribe button below. Go ahead and hit that. You're going to get some great analysis. You're going to great, maybe some controversial analysis, but I'll tell you, I'm right most of the time. So if you love talking about the Broncos, it would really help me out if you can consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you do so, I appreciate it. And tell a friend and have the friend tell a friend, and we'll grow this community together. Also, if it is your first time, I love to interact with people on the comments, but not just that. I love to be able to get, random people that I've never met before in my life on the channel. You'll see it tonight with my buddy Jeremy. Jeremy hit me up, several months back when I first started this YouTube channel. He commented, said, I'd love to get on a show with you. We did. We hit it off. He's a great person, and I made a wonderful friend with him. And you can catch us actually tonight. We're going to be doing our live stream. Unfortunately, David Talks Broncos is sick, so it's just going to be us two walking you through the game. But let's get some key takeaways, guys. Firstly, all right, so a couple of different things here. Firstly, guys, and I think we all know this. I definitely knew this way before yesterday's game, but man, Bo Nix is the truth. He is the truth, absolutely. Anything that you were concerned about or worried about, I think at some point he's proven that it shouldn't be an issue at some point in the season. And yesterday, it was really about you need to have a big time, 10%, 20% of the quarterbacks in the NFL can make a throw. He did that. He did that on that 93-yard bomb to Marvin Mims. So check another box, man. Unbelievably smart, great leader, winner, accurate, footwork is cleaned up, elite arm. He's the full package, man, and we're lucky to have him. So Bo Nix being the future is my first takeaway. I don't want to beat the drum too much on it because I feel like most people are kind of now saying it, but I told you so long before the draft that this dude is the truth. So love that. Another takeaway for me, man, is that the Broncos are now showing, thankfully, that they are a team that can win in multiple ways and can win games that in years past they would not have won. They did that last week against the Raiders. They did it again this week against the Browns. Now, there's good and there's bad about that, right? Because obviously, in some of these situations, you could say, well, they shouldn't have been put in a position where they had to, find a way to win. But the truth is it's the NFL. That's how a lot of games are. And in the past, there's been so many times where even we got to the point with Broncos, in Broncos country here, where it was like a wrap. The game was close, or you felt like it was going to come down to the wire, and you were like, how are the Broncos going to screw this up today? What's going to be going on there? And the truth of the matter is that that's really flipped. And I think, yes, people want to talk about it's Sean Payton. Oh, sorry, my camera's falling. People want to talk about, yes, it's Sean Payton. People want to talk about the culture shift and the front office and what they've did. And all of those are true. But a big part of it is because you have a quarterback that's a leader. He's the commander. He's the guy in charge. And he's leading the troops. And it was so nice to see guys become vocal yesterday, step up. And what they're doing is, even though they're obviously, teams are always going to be making mistakes, but they never make that game-altering mistake, especially on offense, where it's a terrible fumble or awful interception thrown at a critical time. They're always doing the little things to be able to keep themselves in the game and put themselves in position to win at the end. And I love that. And I think that the Broncos can now be labeled, in my opinion, as a very good football team. Are they elite? No, not quite. But they're a very good football team. And in order to get to be a Super Bowl contender or an elite football team, you have to go through this process. And we're lucky that we're doing it at least a year early, from my estimation. So it's great to see, man, and kudos to them. Um, Another thing too, man. Another takeaway that I have is that Levi Wallace is straight trash. He is terrible. Now, I really hate being that guy. I've always hated when, guys will come on and they'll, on the radio or on other YouTube channels and they'll just lay into a player. Because I always had that empathy. Like, these are still humans, man. It's tough. Like, people have a bad night. So I want to always preface with saying that because it's never personal. Like, I'm sure Levi Wallace is probably a really great player, but I mean, a great person. But I was really shocked by how poorly he performed yesterday. Really to the point where I was an advocate of saying, why have him on this team? Let's just get rid of him. And it was, guys, it was not even just Jerry Jeudy that was toasting Levi Wallace. It was Elijah Moore. Absolutely killed him on a route for like 44 yards. It was, I don't even remember the guy's name. Michael something the third. Never heard of him. Third NFL catch. Absolutely toasted Levi Wallace. So it really begged the question for me of like, was he hurt? Was he sick? Because apparently on the last drive when everybody thought he got benched for Chris Abrams' drain, the word on the street was that he was just flat out exhausted because he was chasing guys the whole night. So it's not a cause for concern, but it's definitely something to keep your eye out on because this is, it wasn't good. That was in the 28 years of me watching football and remembering it. That was probably the worst cornerback performance I've ever seen. Especially given the fact that it wasn't against like this unbelievably elite offense. I can't remember watching anything like that. I went back and watched the game twice, and it was worse every time. So does it mean he's going to get cut? No. Crazy enough, the Broncos moved on from Josh Reynolds, which I wanted to make a video strictly for, but I don't think it's that surprising. And the reason that I think he was cut, I don't want to get to speculating, so maybe we can make a dedicated channel once some more information comes out. But I was thinking, man, if somebody were to say, hey, it's going to be Josh Reynolds that's cut or Levi Wallace, you would have thought it was Levi Wallace, and maybe they will move on from him. But that was an ugly performance. And do we need to address the position? Not really, because I'm good with Chris Abrams' drain and Damari Mathis as the backups, obviously to Riley Moss, who's a stud. But maybe, just maybe, we should open up our eyes a little bit to see who's on the market, if anybody, that can, has some experience, that's a vet that can come in and help us out. So who knows? We'll see, but I doubt it. Fourth or fifth takeaway, I don't know what number we're at, but another takeaway that I had, guys, and I kind of had said this a little bit, is I think Jaleel McLaughlin is just the best ball carrier that we have. I want to say overall running back, but he's getting there. And I think it's time for the Broncos to just kind of commit a little bit more to somebody. Jaleel is the only guy that when you watch him, it just looks different. You feel like you can see the skill sets there. He's the only guy that's a legitimate threat in the running back room, at least, that you felt like he could take it to the house anytime he touches the ball. He does a great job holding the ball. He can be a good enough pass catcher if needed. And he's gotten significantly better at pass protection. Is it where it needs to be at? No, but he's gotten a lot better. He had some really, really good blitz pickups yesterday. So of all the wonderful things that the Broncos have done and how great of a season, I'm really on cloud nine as a Bronco fan. The running back room has always kind of bothered me, and it still does. It still bugs me. So I really just want to get that room situated. I want to be able to have a game where we run for over 200 yards or 150 yards consistently, over 4 yards a clip consistently. And I want to have a running back that gets over 100 yards. I'm sick of seeing that streak. It's going to be 26 games now where our Broncos running back hasn't gone over 100 yards in a single game. We got to change that. So that's what I'll be looking for. But feed Jaleel, man. Let him start the games. You can utilize Javonte in very specific situations. But I want to see Jaleel. And if anything, I'd like to see more Audric and less Javonte. I think that's where I'm at. Want to know what you guys think about that below. And then my last takeaway, and I gave this a lot of thought. I listened to the radio this morning. They kind of talked about it a little bit. But I think it's time for the Broncos, now that it's the bye week, the front office, to look into extending both Garrett Bowles and Cortland Sutton. I think you could do so at a little bit better rate given the timing. I don't think they have to be very long-term deals, but at least get those guys locked up for the next 2 to 3 years. They're at an age where you don't want to lock them up 5, 6 years down the road. They're probably going to give you 2 or 3 really solid years left of football. But these are foundational guys that I think the Broncos should really look at keeping around, not making it a distraction going into the offseason. Bowles, for a lot of the hate that he takes and the penalties, and I get it. He has been playing very, very, very solid football. He's been fundamentally sound, and his teammates just seem to love him. So I'll take some of those annoying penalties, and I know the holding number 72 just became a thing for so long, but it doesn't happen nearly as much as I think people realize. But I'll take those little annoyances for the peace of mind knowing that our left tackle position is solid with a guy that is going to bust his ass and play some really good football. And I'm super appreciative for Cortland Sutton, man, because I was definitely one of the guys that was a proponent of getting rid of him in the offseason last year. But my goodness, has he turned it around. Him and Bo have really hit it off. They've clicked. He looks phenomenal, too. He looks great. Had a one bad drop, but really rebounded. Running great routes. I love what he's become. I still think that we should look at getting a true wide receiver one. But he's as close to that as I could remember him being in his career, which is impressive. And like I said, another great locker room glue guy. I think he's part of that foundation that's really helped turn this thing around. So maybe they do it during the bye week. They probably don't. These things sometimes happen. Sometimes, they don't, but it's more rare when they do. But I think it should be something that we should definitely consider with both of those guys, at least specifically Bowles, because we still technically have Cortland Sutton under contract for next year. So we really don't have to do anything with him now. But I would look into extending Bowles. What do you guys think, man? What do y'all think? Any other takeaways? There was so many damn takeaways from this game. It was crazy. But I couldn't really hit on all of them, obviously, for the sake of time. I don't want you guys having to stare at my face for, 45 minutes to an hour. You're already going to probably do that, hopefully, tonight on the live stream. But I want to know what you guys think. What are some key takeaways that you guys found from yesterday? And let me know below in the comments. Don't forget, guys, to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, all of the above. I really appreciate it. Spend time with the people that you love the most, and go Broncos, baby, and peace out.